Hey guys, welcome to day 2 of my 30-day project. This isn't the first time I'm logging in today, but I did want to show some things about what's happening today. If you are a spender, this is a pretty good pack to get. It's got a lot of value in it. I mean, everything has resources and stuff like that, but for this price, $20 for 5200%, and there's no like junk in here. It's all just very focused. Like, you got some gear EXP from these gearboxes and 100 forge hammers. Normally you can get about 400 to 460 or so for $100, so that's a pretty decent discount on just the forge hammers alone. And then you also get these little gear chests here. Same thing over here. Like, you normally don't get this much for $20, so it's a pretty decent discount in picking either one of those. I also wanted to discuss the fishing event for any spenders. If you get the $5 one, it's not too much value. It does help you with the Horn of Tides, the treasure charts and stuff like that to get places, but 50 true gold's actually a pretty good deal for $5. And everything else is just kind of extras, and then when you get multiples of this, it's just another 1,000 gems. But the real value is here in the $10 one, where you're getting one of every buff, but 2 of the deployment capacity ones. You're getting a whole lot of speed ups. You're getting a couple forge hammers. You're getting decent value on true gold, and you're getting more of these horns as well. So this event, as long as you do the fishing somewhat decently, you can actually get pretty good rewards from the event. Plus, you get extra fishing tokens and fishing points for buying each of these. You don't really have to do the pro sets. The pro sets are mainly for people who are really going for the leaderboard. So if you really want the leaderboard, you really want the skins for the leaderboard, you would probably have to buy the fishing pro set, but you really don't need to. I would say that do not do any fishing until you have purchased your fishing guilds, if possible, and you want your first one to be an Ocean Prospector. Because Ocean Prospector automatically has all of the buffs enabled. It's automatically like as if your line was fully maxed out. And if you have a fishing voucher as well, you can get all of your line, hook, and sinker completely maxed out before you do any regular fishing. I would also like to point out that these conchas here, once you have gotten all of the regular fish in the game, you can actually use them to get junk and mermaids and things of that nature too. So if you are, it only works for ones you don't own though. So like if you already have all of your fish, but you don't have all of your mermaids, your treasures, or your junk, you can actually use these Horns of Tides to get any missing ones that you don't have. So keep that in mind when you're doing your fishing and trying to find out what you want to do. And you also want to gotta go back to the fishing event. You also want to try to get these daily events every day. They all have hero EXP, which is kind of expensive to get otherwise, and 2,000 points a day in fishing is not that difficult, especially if you use one of your Ocean Prospector treasure charts. Anyway, so that's fishing. Another thing I wanted to talk about is the Champagne event. As you can see, I've already redeemed some of my vouchers today. But you're going to be able to get 10 Season 4 widgets for pretty cheap here. You're going to be able to get up to 3 Mithril here. That's pretty cheap. Well, actually, it's kind of expensive, but Mithril's expensive everywhere. And Hero XP as well. After you've bought those 3 things, if you still have points left over, it's probably a good idea to buy charm stuff, as that's a little bit harder to get than your governor gear stuff. Or if you just want to build up some of your earlier season heroes, you can do that too. But for earlier season heroes, Hall of Heroes is better. You can get a lot of season 1 widgets right now for the same price as you would get Margot shards. And you would need about 225 widgets to max out a season 1 hero. And that's only 2,550 tickets, which if you look at the ticket costs, $100, 2,000 tickets, $20 for 400 tickets, and $5 for 120. So that's 2,520 tickets right there. And you'd be only 30 tickets short. So you can just buy a $5 pack the next day and boom, you're done. A full widget for $130. It's not bad. And I did that with Saul because I wanted Saul's widget to be good for my rallies or for my garrisons when I'm defending castle, since we do 60-40 formations. Also wanted to go over this caravan stuff again. I know I touched on it a little bit before, but when you come over here and you're looking at one of these guys, you can see the materials that they have in them as well. And like I said, if they're too strong or too weak for you, you can always share them with your alliance. But I was a little bit mistaken. You do get 2,500 per raid on these purple ones as well. But these green ones and blue ones, I'm not sure if you get 2,500. I have never attacked them. Somebody else might be more knowledgeable for me, but I was made aware that attacking these ones also get 2,500. So it is possible that every attack, no matter what card it is, you're getting 2,500. But these are just not really worth attacking. They're very low points. They're very, the rewards are kind of bad. And if you can get through on an orange one, you're getting more premium rewards that are a little harder to come by without money. And I have it, or I collected my my mails already today by accident. As you can see, my mails are all gone. So I have my vouchers and stuff today. But like I said, you kind of don't want to use your vouchers if you don't have to. But I only got 2, so it's not really like it matters super much. And I got an SSR already, so you definitely want to try to go for oranges only if you can. But as you can see, it gets kind of expensive to do that if you have to go through every roll, which is why I said try to do 1 or 2 of your gem rolls first and then try to use vouchers, because it's guaranteed SSR after 6 rolls. You get the first one free. So if you do only 300 gems and then 2 of your tickets and still aren't there, you're only using 600 gems instead of like I just did, using 1,500 gems to get an SSR escort. So it's I just wanted to touch on that again. Make sure you guys need to do that. Also, make sure you are assisting your allies. You want to make sure that you have an assistance squad up and ready, so that your team can give you assistance. You can help your teammates, and they'll give you some extra resources and stuff as well. There's not much else going on today. Champions Way did start tomorrow. But this thing is already coming up, and if you have any of these now, you can actually redeem them early. And I usually keep 10 of them around, so I'm going to trade in 27. And that'll get me, 27 of those chests. And then I can use the other 10 to get my Hildy and Hammer Shards between now and Friday. And then Friday I just go full on killing beasts until I get 10 of these back, at least. And then I can redeem them or use them at the next event. The bear hunt's also going on, is another event that we're going to be doing later on today. One thing that I wanted to make you aware of for bear hunts is don't use heroes like Margot, Alcar, all of them. You kind of want to use Amadeus or Helga if you have their widgets, just because they do offer rally bonuses when you're using their widgets. You also want to try to use Petra if you can. She's currently, until next season, the only cavalry that has a rally stat boost. And then you want to use either Rosa, who is a lethality boost with rallies, or you want to use Marlin, who is also a lethality boost with rallies. There's currently no attack booster with archers, but either one of them can boost your lethality. Next season, because this season we have attack with Petra, there's going to be Thrud, who is a lethality bonus for cavalry. So you'll have kind of options next season with rally stat bonuses and stuff like that. So on that topic of stat bonuses and everything else, I wanted to talk about the command center Mystic Trials. There is this kind of go-to list of things to do on these events to try to get the best score possible, but don't use the cookie cutter methods. The cookie cutter methods are going to be generally okay for people who are a balanced build, but not everybody's a balanced build. Like, for instance, in the Coliseum, I'm not just going to do, 50, 20, 30 on all of my Coliseums or 50, 10, 40 on all of my Coliseums. I know my hero stat bonuses pretty well. This first formation here, everybody's pretty balanced. So I'm actually going to use a 50, 25, 25 on this one because all of my heroes are very balanced on their stats. And I'm going to be able to get a lot of damage done. The second formation here, I know that I don't have any gear on my Saul, and my Alcar and Margo are my strongest heroes. So I'm definitely going to use like a 60-40 or a 70-30 here. 60-40 is probably going to work better. And then that's going to, hit pretty hard. This last formation here, everybody's also balanced, but it's my weakest formation. Now, you could do a infantry cavalry mix here, and because they're going to lose anyway, so this would get rid of the archers in the enemy's formation, which frees up your infantry from taking too much damage in the next round after they've already fought. And that's typically what I do with my weakest formation, but if your weakest formation is as strong as your others, just do like you did with the first one or the second one, depending on how you built your team out. And when you do that, like you're going to see, like in the battle, sometime like my second one just won, and that's like the strongest formation I have, and they basically almost won the whole thing by themselves. My first march came in, finished the chapter off for me. And that's going to be like kind of how it happens a lot. But sometimes you're going to get your third formation to come in first, like I just did here, and they're just not going to do anything, but they killed off archers mainly. My first formation is my weakest, so it's kind of logical that it just lost there. And you can retry, and there is some luck to this. You can watch the battle or skip it, it doesn't really matter, but the whole idea here is to try and set up your team for success, even if one of your teams is going to fail. Like that kind of worked out pretty well. Like there is some luck involved to it, but you definitely want to read your team and not just use some kind of cookie cutter method when you're doing these things. For me on my gear, like I set up my gear like this, where like I barely have any defenses on my cavalry and hardly any attack on my infantry. So like you don't really need to have your team fully geared and fully focused on everything in order for it to work out. There's people that are a lot higher than me in the Mystic Trial, whose gear is like astronomically better, but then there's also people who are not very much higher than me. Like Ken's only 6 stages ahead of me, and his gear is like fully like red on like all of his heroes. So it's like I'm not that far away from him, and I didn't put my gear like his is, and I'm still kind of keeping up with him because I read my team, I know how my heroes work together, and I set up my team for success that way. I think that is all I wanted to touch on today. Also, just remember, if you do want to get more of your champagne things, you can come over to your Heroes Hall and use your keys, but I do recommend saving these keys as much as possible. You don't want to use them kind of frivolously because you've probably been around in like the Thanksgiving and Christmas event where they had days during that event where you could use keys to get points. And if you use half of your keys on the Tuesday and Wednesday in those events, each day use just half of your keys, you'll get a pretty high ranking, and you're not going to have spent any KVK resources to do it. So I always save my keys for that event as well. And oh yeah, there's another thing too. So today is Tuesday. In the Alliance Brawl on Thursday, they have troops. As you can see, my troops are building for over a day right now. I actually came in here and I used the troop enhancement buff, which you can also see over here. The training capacity buff, it increases it by 200% for 2 hours. And that kind of doubles, it takes whatever time you have, like, so say you're at 16 hours of training time normally on a queue, it would triple that. So instead of being 16 hours, you'd go to 48 hours or 2 full days to train your troops. On top of that, if you actually come over to the castle and on Tuesday, which is today, you come to the appointments and you actually sign up for Noble Advisor like all of these people did. Core's doing this a lot today because I told them to do this. I think Egg knows to do this as well because, it's going to boost your time to that 2-day mark. And then you'll have, basically 3 entire troop queues completely finished at the start of day 4 and be able to get all of your points done just right away on day 4. So that's a good way of not using your KVK resources to get points on a day that you really want to do something on. And I really do want to build my troops up, so I definitely want to pull that over. So anyway, that's I believe that's all of the stuff that's going on today. Let me just check the calendar to make sure. Oh yeah, my armament competition, I actually finished that with my Alliance Brawl by finishing that one tech I talked about yesterday. And I started a new technology and didn't speed it up, just started it. Got my and I also got my armament competition done because of that. So just, be aware of like all the synergies you can do with your tasks. And that's all I really wanted to talk about today. I hope you guys learned something today, and if you did, like and subscribe, because that's how you guys can tell me you like me. All right, bye.